Our film begins in the future after the destruction of the world, and we learn that some scientists tried to save what was left of the planet and came up with the idea of complete transformation, which is that every person on his 16th birthday performs an operation that changes his life and transforms into a better and ideal version of himself, because scientists see that all that remains is that humans are as perfect as somehow the conflict between them will disappear, and then we will see a girl named Tali, who is not yet 16 years old and is standing in front of the mirror at this time. She looks at her appearance and asks the technological mirror to show her a more beautiful version of her appearance, so she decides to show her how it will look like after plastic surgery, and then she meets her friend Bryce and they watch through the technological glasses the big party held for the ideal person, and we know that anyone who has not yet undergone plastic surgery will be forbidden from going out. Or he attends parties like this and shows that she is impatiently waiting for the day she turns 16 years old. So he sold her press if she had only 3 months left and she would turn 16, and at that time her life would change. At the same moment, we know that tomorrow Press will be 16 years old and he will have the operation, and his life will also change, but he is worried about the new life that it will change, so she tells him again that at least he will be more beautiful and not a friend. Long snorts, and then we find that Perez and Tali both have scars in their hands like each other. They promised each other that they would not abandon her. And then everyone under the age of 16 would attend the meeting of the wise Dr. Naya. And at that time she would welcome everyone who would turn 16 today and know that they will turn into the dazzling ideal that will make them beautiful on the outside and inside. And at that time they will burn from racism and hatred because they will all be beautiful. He is special and will go out and live in the city, and she will wait and ask everyone who wants 16 year after year. They go out to the theater, and then Tali hugs Pierce to make her miss her, and asks him not to forget their date at the bridge. A month later, when Tali returns to her room, she remembers the first day she met Pierce, and over time they remained best friends. And when Price held one eye in his hands, one day Tali decided she would make herself feel bad, too. They both have the same tusk, and then we see Tali memorize the reasons that caused it, the destruction of the planet, and she talks about a genetically modified flower called the white tiger's back, and that it is the reason for preserving their planet and their current future. Days pass and Tali waits for him to reach the age of 16. Suddenly, Press's talk to her stops, and this makes her upset, even when she goes to the bridge to meet together as they agreed, and she finds that he is not there, so she decides. At that time, she climbs the bridge and sees the city and the idealists, happy and crying like everyone else. One night, at the same moment, she finds a mask on the floor, and when she puts it on, suddenly her clothes change, and she sees everything around her beautiful and perfect, and she is very amazed because she finally sees the world as the ideal that she used to see. At the same time, she sees Pierce, whose appearance has changed a little after the plastic surgery, and she looks at him and she is happy. But Press is a pawn when he sees her and asks how she got into the city. At that time Tali is surprised by Bryce's actions, and that his personality has changed and he has become a different person without feelings. So he is sold. When she is beautiful, Zim understands and calls Tari at that time that he got rid of his scar. Suddenly the government discovers the presence of an ugly person in the city. So Tali takes her flight jacket and tries to escape before she catches. But unfortunately the plane, she sees her and suddenly finds one of her colleagues named Shay pulling her and riding. She takes her skateboard, and they get together and run away from the plane and go back to their building, and then they stay up late together talking and they have tea. She wants to know who is next to the city and how the ideal people are, so Tali tells her that everything is exactly as the government promised them, and then they write that they were born on the same day and will be together. You are 16 years old and the next day you decide to learn how to use a device. She slides and flies with it, but then Tali falls and does not know how to use it, and she tries something to train her every day until she learns, and one day she says to Tali that she wants to go to the fog area, but Tali tells her that this area is not inhabited and is just an imagination, and if the fog was there, someone would have seen it, so he would smile and ask her. You meet her at the green belt after 2 hours, and at night she goes carrying the destroyed part of the planet, and Tali is with her and asks her not to tell anyone about what happened. She will see it because she will see the fog and know that it is real and that there are many people like them living there, and no one who grows up to do plastic surgery in order to be perfect and loves, because what is important in the fog area is the essence. So she becomes shocked again by what she says and prepares that if anyone sees them now, their surgeries will be cancelled and they will remain ugly forever. But Shay surprises Tali that she does not want to have plastic surgery and leaves Tali alone. She escapes with her from the artificial world in which they live, away from the strange technology that kept them prisoners, and lives free in a natural world. So Tali leaves her nervously and tells her that she does not want to be free and wants to be beautiful and perfect, and she goes to the city because she does not want to be ugly and people do not accept her appearance. So she gives her a map of the road to the fog if she wanted to change her mind and go there like her, and tell her that the map it is made with secret codes, that she is the only one who will understand it while she is drinking tea. Then she becomes sad because she has to leave her and go to the fog. The days pass and the day comes when she turns 16 years old, but she reacts that everyone who has been with her for 16 years has done their operations and cleared her stomach, and suddenly someone from the government comes and takes it to Naya's office. Then Tali explodes and leaves and finds Naya asking her about Shay because she has disappeared and we do not know where she is, but Tali denies that she knows where she is. So Maya tells her that her operation will be postponed because they need her help, and then Tali is sitting in her room sad, and suddenly she finds a press coming to visit her. So she loves to tell him what happened to her, and that her operation was postponed because she did not tell Shay where she went, so he comes out, including Perez, that she speaks and tells the government about a place for tea so that they can perform the operation and stay. She is beautiful like him, and they live together in the city. Otherwise she will remain ugly and outcast and locked in the ugly building forever. Then she sits next to Naya and imagines to her that there is a person named David who is responsible for the fog zone, and the people there are developing weapons to destroy with them the world that they created and built with high technology. So I became surprised. You ask why they might want to destroy the world, and you know that Shay is now under David's control, after he played with her thoughts, made her hate the perfect world, and she asked Naya that next time she would find the place of the fog, and she would learn that they were making her one of the fogs, so she could spy on them and tell them about their plans and movements. Then they would let the operation be done and she would remain as beautiful and perfect as she dreams of every day, and she would give her the secret chain because as soon as you know the location of their weapons, you send them a signal through which you need tea and you must save it. From David and the people of the fog, and then we see Tali, who has a map of the location of the fog area, and she follows all the instructions written on the map. She spends days and nights on the road and gets tired on the road because it is not easy. At the same time, Press is sitting with Naya, and she thanks him for helping them convince Tanny that she knows the place. Where is the fog? At this time, Press tells Naya that he felt nostalgia towards him when he saw her, and he thought that these feelings were not. He will feel it again, and it will give him the impression that he is one of the few people who made a new transformation for them so that his mind is clear and pure and he has a different thought. Meanwhile, suddenly, everything around her is burning and suffocating from the smoke. At the same moment, David appears and has a tracking device for any government spy device. At that time, Tali will be afraid that David will discover that the chain he is wearing is a tracking and communication device, but he will not find out anything other than the device on the skateboard. David takes Tali with him to the fog area. There she meets Shay and the two are happy because they saw each other. When Tali sits with Shay, she tries to make her suspicious of David so she can go back with her, and Shay asks her to walk, and this makes Tali apologize to her and tell her that she needs some time to understand what is happening, so she will know that she will not tell anyone here that she is still there. She is upset and wants her to go back with her, and that this will remain a secret between them, and she advises her to see the people here and get close to them, and she knows the truth herself, and she will find someone who will comfort her and make her happy. And then she later discovers that David and those with him are burning the white tigers back, so it becomes, but David informs her that this flower was created by the government to kill any other fields in the planet and do not leave anyone who can live outside the borders controlled by the government and beyond which they can move. They all killed the plane to burn the apparition. At this time, two of the government attack and sit looking at the plane, so they become afraid for it and come down after it in order to save and protect it. They actually succeed in saving it, and they return together to the plane again and are able to escape from what they are following. When he gets them off the plane, Cruyff suspects Tali and tells David that no one could. The government has been pursuing them for a long time, and this happened now that Tali is in their midst, but David is not suspicious of Tali, because she threw herself into the fire and jumped out of the plane to save Shay, and this means that she is a loyal person. At night, Tali is nervous and thinking, not knowing what to do or how to act, and not knowing who is right and who is wrong, and the next day in the morning, you discover that everyone sitting in the fog area grows food, works, and makes it. The conversation is that they do not eat genetically modified food and make it like Mania says about them. And at night David talks to everyone and they learn that the government will not stop looking for them and persecuting them because they want everyone to be under their control and to feel that they are ugly and have faults so that insecurity is generated within them, so he provides them with a plastic surgery that will make them perfect and the ideal city that they will live happily there to keep them occupied and away from learning, reading, and the truth. At that time, Tali feels that David's words are true and convincing, and that she really feels comfortable and loves herself among them. The next day, David begins to teach Tali how to use weapons, and it appears that there is admiration between them and David for Tali's hand with his gloves to protect her hands. Suddenly, they meet one of the residents of the fog area, wounded, and she tells them that the government sent people to pursue it, but it was able to escape from them, so it would like to follow it later. She helps her stop the bleeding of her wound, and then she sees David's gloves tea with Tali, and she learns at that time that he likes Tali and loves her, because these gloves in particular are one of his favorites. And for a little while, Tali goes to David, talks to him, and asks frankly if they are making a weapon to destroy this government and their city, so David was surprised at that time by her question. He takes it to introduce her to his family, and she then writes that Abu David is a writer, so David finds out from his family that they are telling Tali everything so that he can trust her in their time, and David tells her that she and her husband were plastic surgeons and were working for the government and they are in love because of plastic surgery because it causes problems in the brain, but they are playing with people's feelings and making them insensitive. They have no feelings and are not interested in anything. They don't think about anything, and in a clearer sense, they are playing with changing people's personalities just as they change their appearance, and when Naya found out, they understood her goal. She took their research from them in order to destroy it, and they understood from her that she was doing this to be in control and control of everyone. At that time, she and her husband decided that they would flee the city and try as much as possible to spread awareness among the people in order to protect them. At this moment, David's mother was hidden to follow the serum that she and her husband had made to treat them. Anyone who has undergone a complete transformation during plastic surgery knows that this is the weapon that Naya wants to destroy him, so she puts Miha in the fire to burn her, and she repeatedly tells David that she was not completely honest with him from the beginning, and that she believed Naya, and because she could not imagine the ugliness of what the government was doing to them. So David tried to guide her and knew that he understood her and would not look at any other behavior that happened before on her part. Because she was gone and did not know the truth, and the next morning the soldiers attack the government is in the area of the fog, and then there is a violent conflict between everyone, and David and Tali are able to hide and fight back when she sees that Press is among the soldiers. At the same moment, Naya arrives and speaks to David's family, telling them that she will not allow their son to destroy everything he built, and she asks about his whereabouts, but they remain silent and do not. He answers, and then Naya orders Press to kill David's father, and David calls and runs to Ali's father, he and Tali. They are collapsed and Naya repeats that she thanks Tali for joining her and helping her. So it is time for her and David to start running Tali, and she uses and swallows all the gasoline and grabs a weapon to fight Naya and her soldiers, but she is unable to defeat them, and at this time she runs and escapes, and then we see Naya's soldiers burning the fog area and destroying the people's factory completely with David, and at night the next thing reaches David, who also runs away and hides at that time. He attacks her because of his shock at her, but they say that she burned the chains so that no one could reach them, and she did not know that when she burned, she would point out their location, and she defends herself and says that she did not initially know the truth about the government, and that when she came here, she understood that the beauty of a person is not in his mind and soul. In his appearance, she apologizes to him for what happened, and they know that she will go with him to the city to help him save his mother and the rest, and then Tali arrives at the ugly building in the city and talks to her colleagues and learns that the fog area is real, and David is a real person and his books are real, so the House of Saddam is real at that time, and they are happy and say that they are helping David and Tali, and they are writing in the sky with smoke. Long live the fog, and they say that they are taking the prison key from the guard and liberating everyone at that time. But Tali is shocked when she learns that Shay is in the operating room so they can operate on her. The beautician is against her, and they are trying to get to a place to catch her. But unfortunately they arrive too late and Bella finds T. Her appearance has changed and her personality has become completely different. She has been devoid of any feelings. She is about to receive and be treated. Naya comes and she grows older than David and his mother, and then they put in tubes to do the operation too, and at the same time, Croya attacks the place to burn it down and saves David and everyone. In the meantime, Tali runs away and sees Press. So she appreciates him, talks to him, and tries to remind him of her and their memories together. But David attacks him to get revenge on him because he killed his father. So he beats up Press with extreme violence, and this makes Tali and Ali away from David. So he is sold off the building and dies, and Tali thinks that she is helping David's mother reveal the truth. The government is for all people who have undergone plastic surgery to be able to convince them to take the serum and come back. Print again and we will see Tali surrender herself to the government. And then Tali will have undergone plastic surgery because she agreed with David's mother that she would give her a serum, so that when everyone finds themselves back to normal again, they will take the serum like her.